Hello, Camp Ideas, and welcome back to Craft and Storytime. My name is Miss Haley, and today we'll be reading The Sneetches. Afterwards, we'll be making our very own Sneetches. Stick around. The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. Now the star-belly Sneetches had bellies with stars, the plain-belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. The stars weren't so big, they were really so small, you might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the star-belly Sneetches would brag, were the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches. With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort, will have nothing to do with the plain-belly sort. And whenever they met some when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. When the star-belly children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You only could play if your bellies had stars, and the plain-belly children had none upon theirs. When the star-belly Sneetches had frankfurter roasts, or picnics or parties, or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the plain-belly Sneetches, they left them out cold in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain-belly Sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles, I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that, I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you, I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed." Then quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, "You want stars like a star-belly Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clambered inside, then the big machine roared, and it clonked and it bonked and it jerked and it burked, and it bopped them about, but the thing really worked. When the plain-belly Sneetches popped out, they had stars! They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start, "We're exactly like you, you can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties, and now we can go to your frankfurter parties." "Good grief," groaned the ones who had stars at the first, "we're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know," they all frowned, "if which kind is what, or the other way around?" Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who, that is perfectly true, but come with me, friends, do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneetches on beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 eaches." "Belly stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like the Sneetches who have them upon theirs." And that handy machine, working very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then, with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout, "We know who is who, now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without." Then of course those with stars got all frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then of course old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then of course from then on, as you probably guess, things really got into a horrible mess. All the rest of that day on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced round and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money, they kept running through, until neither the plane nor the Starbellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They never will learn. No, you can't teach a Sneetch. But McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say, that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs. The end. For today's craft, you will need at least one piece of yellow construction paper, possibly two, one white piece of paper, your scissors, your glue, and some crayons, colored pencils, or markers. The first thing we're going to do, you're going to take your white piece of paper and a crayon, colored pencil, or marker, and you are going to trace your hand onto our white piece of paper. Once you have your hand traced out, you are going to take your scissors and you're going to go ahead and cut it out. When you have it cut out, make sure you leave a little bit of your wrist at the bottom and go ahead and put that aside for now. And then you are going to take out your yellow construction paper, and now we are going to be cutting out a big oval shape for your belly of your Sneetch. And when you have that, put that aside as well. Now this is where you will need your second piece of construction paper if you have it. What we're going to do, we are going to cut out some long rectangular pieces for our arms and legs. Now if you only have one sheet, or if you want them a little shorter, you're going to go down this way on your paper. If you want them longer, we're going to cut up vertically. Now regardless of how you cut them, we're all going to do the same thing. We're going to take each paper and you're going to start an accordion fold. If you don't know what an accordion fold is, you're going to take your paper and you're going to fold it this way, and then you're going to go ahead and fold it the opposite way, and keep going all the way down until you've folded your entire paper. Do this for all 4 strips. When you've finished folding, it should come up like this. Once you have all of your arms and legs folded, we're going to take our glue and we're going to put it on one side in 4 different places. For the arms, I'm going to put it on the sides, the top, and then for the legs, I'm going to put it along the bottom. Then once you have all the limbs glued on, it should look something like this. We're going to take our hands and you are going to draw a face on one side. Now I used my thumb, so it looks like the beak of the Sneetch. You can also color in these top parts so it looks more like their hair. Here is how mine looks. And now we are going to add glue to the neck that you left with your wrist. I'm going to put it on the front of mine. And then I'm going to take my body and we're going to stick it right on there. And there is a plain belly Sneetch. Now you could stop here if you'd like, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make a star as well to glue on his belly. For this part, you can either take a green piece of paper or maybe some scraps left over from your white piece of paper and then just color it in. Either way is fine. And we are going to draw some stars on here before we cut them out. Now there are a couple ways to do this. I'm going to show you each of them. The first one is probably the simplest. All you need to do is cut out a few triangles, and then you will glue them together in the shape of a star on your Sneetch. To do that, you will need 5 triangles and then 1 square for the center. We glue that on my Sneetch, and I'll show you how to stick it together. So for the first part, for this method, you're going to stick your square on first, about right in the center, and then you are going to take each of your triangles and you're going to glue them around your square. It's okay if they overlap or if they're on top of the square as well, just however you can get it to fit. That's how mine turned out. And now I'm going to pull this off and I'm going to show you a couple of other ways of getting a star. Now the next way I'm going to show you is how I learned how to draw a star. We are going to take a colored pencil, crayon, or marker, and you are going to go down and up, and then just like that. So down, out, and you'll get a star. Go one more time, you go down, then all the way up, so it should look like this at step 2. Then you go across, down, up, and then down one more time to connect the lines. Now there is one other way, and that is to make triangles first with your pencil. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the top, one more. And then you'll just cut them out. And once it's cut out, again, you will just glue it to the belly if you want to have a star-bellied Sneetch. Now that is it for today's craft, and I will see you Friday.